Welcome to RPG Book Club, the podcast where we play a little bit of a video game and talk about how it makes us feel. I'm Sam Allman.
I'm Bernard.
And I'm Trish.
And today we'll be playing the final part of Paper Mario for the N64. But before we get to all of that, how was everyone's week?
Extremely bad, horribly bad, so
no.
bad. But I just want to talk about and think about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Okay.
Because that is good.
It is very good.
I guess I don't want to actually say too much because I don't want to spoil anything. And of course I'm so early on, but there's still there's been fun surprises and things they do and choices they make, and I don't want to spoil that for anyone, but I will say this shouldn't be a spoiler that we get to see a lot of Sephiroth early on, and Sephiroth's voice acting and writing are fantastic.
Absolutely.
We didn't get much of a chance to really get a feel for him in Remake because he was just there occasionally in scenes where he had no business being.
Yes.
But in Rebirth, he gets to speak a lot during the Nibelheim flashback, and he's so good.
Yeah.
Something about describing it as he's being in scenes he has no business being in. I understand. I've culture nerd osmosis have heard. I know what's going on with that, but when you put it that way, it just makes me think like it's like a Daffy Duck scene stealing thing. Like he's coming on stage when he really shouldn't be, and everyone's like, "Dude, why are you here?"
Yeah, like
a giant cane coming out to pull Sephiroth off stage.
But yeah, like Bernard said, I'm not very far in it either. But the literal first scene of the game was a slap in the face surprise for me. So I'm not going to say anything about the game at all.
I will say because I have been so down the past few days, I've just been doing nothing but playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I am 11 hours in. I just got through the mines. It's just hilarious to me that I'm playing the part of Final Fantasy VII, the remake, where you leave Midgar, and I'm 11 hours in, and I just got through the mines before Junon.
Which is the first dungeon after you leave Midgar.
Yes. However, I did like 95% of the stuff in the grasslands, and then there was like one thing left that I couldn't figure out how to do. And I was like, okay, fine, I'll just go ahead and progress onward. And now I'm through the mines, now I'm in the second open area, and I can't go back to the grasslands.
Oh no!
I assume I'll be able to later, because it still shows up on my map showing that I haven't completed everything in the grasslands. But I want to go back and do it now. Let me Google Final Fantasy VII Rebirth Return to Grasslands and see if I'm fucked.
I don't think you would be.
No, I'm certain I'm not.
Yeah, because in chapter whatever it was last game, that opened up all of the places between all of the sectors, and you could go all over Midgard to do side quests.
Yeah.
So it's probably a similar thing, but hopefully we don't have to wait until the moment before the final dungeon like we did in Remake.
Looks like I just have to do a side quest in the Junon area to get back to the Calm area. And then but yeah. I'm not going to read this whole article.
No. But yeah, it's really good. And if you're a fan of this show and you listen to us for all of these years and you don't already have it, you don't already have plans to play it, that's weird. But just in case, you should play it. It's really good. I saw an incredibly spicy take on Twitter earlier today that somebody said that this game should be someone's first Final Fantasy game.
What?
I'm not sure about that.
Yeah.
But it is amazing how much already loving the characters and world and story of Final Fantasy VII is making all the open world exploration and stuff just feel so much more rich.
Mm-hmm.
Makes
And
sense.
because I already love Cloud, and I love Cloud and Tifa and Aerith and Barrett and Red 13. I love going around doing things as them, and I even love Chadley doing errands for Chadley.
Adley?
I can't believe I like Chadley.
Yeah, I didn't hate him first game, but I thoroughly enjoy him this game. I just got to the part with the volume joke just now, and I laughed my ass off. It was so good.
I was about to ask if you met his yassified uh
Alter
his
ego.
yassified girl self, and I'm
Yes.
like,
What?
Chadley, um
This is my favorite thing about not playing new releases is sometimes I get to sit there while my friends talk about them, and it sounds like the most incredible fever dream I've never. I have no context for so much of this. I'm just like, what is happening? Chadley and his yassified girl self.
Yeah.
I'm no expert, but I would say Chadley always had egg vibes. But
Yes.
yeah, he apparently created a yassified girl version of himself to help himself out.
Yeah,
So
he's not trans. He just only plays girl characters in all of his video games because
Uh, and
kids relate to him more.
if he could have any superpower, he'd be a shapeshifter. Yeah, that whole thing.
Yeah.
um, but yeah,
Well, I'm
and
glad
also,
that game is helping your crappy week.
yes, it is so much. And also, a lot of when a game that you wouldn't expect to really do an open world thing does an open world thing, usually people say, oh, it's just doing Ubisoft. And I will pronounce it Ubisoft, not Ubisoft, because they say a Ubisoft original on them, not an Ubisoft original, and I hate that. But anyway, people say they're just doing Ubisoft. But this game is not doing Ubisoft so much as it's doing Monolith Soft.
Mhm.
And I love it. It has a lot of Xenoblade
Mhm.
feeling to it, and it's really good.
And crucially, and makes it the best open world thing I've done since the original Spider-Man for PS4. Every stupid little unimportant side quest ties into one of your party members, like either thematically or like
Oh, that's
they do it.
good.
So like every single like, oh, go into this cave and pick up 3 things and fight one monster would be super boring and all the things, but now it's like, oh, I get to dig into Red 13 psyche a little more for a little bit, and it's cool and I like it.
Yes, this is, and we're not just saying that, this is very specifically a thing. If you go into the menu and look at the side quests, it will have a picture of that side quest character next to it.
Mhm.
That's really good.
Like, this is very minor, so I'll just go ahead and give this as an example. There is a side quest where there's a girl who lost her parents, and she wants help finding flowers to make a type of flower crown that her mother would always make, and that of course goes with Aerith because she's a florist who lost her mother, and it connects really well, and you go and you get the flowers, and it calls back to scenes in Final Fantasy VII Remake, and it's great.
So good.
Well, that sounds lovely. Honestly, I kind of got burnt out on overworld stuff a little bit from a certain BioWare game, and the thing that burned me out the most was the fact that most of the side quests felt truly just nothing, just full nothing burgers. Like you'd complete a side quest and like a little pop up thing would come up, and that was it. Like you didn't even go and turn in the quests, and I was like, "What's the point of this? I don't know why I'm spending my time doing any of this except for number go up." So that sounds just infinitely better in every way.
Yeah.
Yes, please. I love that.
Yeah, so it's fantastic. So if you are like Trish and you have no idea what we're talking about, you need to go play Final Fantasy VII for the PlayStation 1 and
I
then
will at some point.
watch the YouTube movie for Dirge of Cerberus because that apparently is important. And then and
Then
then
and
play
then
the
play
Yuffie DLC.
then play the Yuffie DLC. Then you should probably play Crisis Core. It's
Mhm.
not good, but it's probably going to be relevant.
Mhm. Especially because Zach is on the poster of this one, and he was not in this portion of the game originally. So,
He
yeah.
was mentioned off screen in this portion of the game originally.
Yes. So, then after you get through that 300 hours of content, then you can be ready to play Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Another 300 hours of content.
Yes. But I could literally talk about everything about it forever. So instead of doing that, let's talk about the other fantastic video game I played this week, Paper Mario.
I didn't get to talk about my week.
You did it. Sorry. Go ahead.
Now I feel like I shouldn't. I feel like we should just move on to Paper Mario.
No. Go ahead. It's fine.
Okay.
We'll cut around it.
Okay. So this week, I can't remember how much of any of this I've talked about previously on the podcast, and so I'm just gonna say I don't remember how much I've said this before, but I try to write. I'd like to do so professionally, but I write a lot of fanfic, and I decided to do a special thing for the first time. For those of you who don't know, February is what some people call the month of February, because it rhymes. It's alliterative, and because shockingly to some people, when it comes to sapphic pairings in fandom, are just criminally underrepresented in most fandoms. Literally, recently, AO3 reached 1 million F/F pairing fics, which you might be like, oh, good, but it's like, yeah, but there's
That
over 12
sounds-
million fanfics.
I was about to say that
on there.
sounds like that should have been hit a long time ago.
You'd think that, but no, it was recently hit. It is. Usually with most fandoms, it goes guy/guy, guy/girl, and then girl/girl, and then other or generic. Actually, sometimes generic is above sapphic fics. Frequently, it is. Anyway, for the month of February, I decided to do a thing where I did like a little poll among the Cosmere fandom with a bunch of weird rare pairs I thought up, and people voted on it. It was like a ranked choice poll, and the top 4 winners, I wrote a one shot for each of them, and I was smart, and I wrote all 4 before the month of February had even started, because I knew on top of my usual writing projects, it would be good to get that done early.
Mhm.
Nice.
So I was very happy to do that. But then a friend of mine was like, hey, you should what about, someone was talking about this pairing, and I was like, oh, that's a really good one. What if I do a secret 5th one that I don't tell anyone about? That'll be fun. And I kept being like, yeah, because normally there's not even 5 weeks in the month, but there was this time because of it's a leap year. So I was like, oh, that works perfectly. And I was releasing them weekly. And then I just, my laptop's been having issues. I did a trip to Canada and back, depression, and the day, like, it was coming up on a couple days until I would have to release this thing, and I had barely started writing it. So my last week was basically powering through and forcing myself to write it and edit it and post it on time, which I did manage to get done, and I'm very happy with it. And then other than that, the main thing with my time has been playing Valhalla with a friend, or rather VA-11 Hall-A, which is one of my favorite games of all time, and taking them through it has just been so fun. And it's if you haven't played the Cybernetic Bartending Simulator, I recommend it, and I have deep opinions on it. But that's for another day, because today we're here to talk about Paper Mario.
Yes. I also realized I didn't go, and I had a lot more in my week besides just
Please
the
do.
last 24 hours where I've been playing Final Fantasy. But so as of today, Girl Scout cookie season is upon us, and Scarlett is selling Girl Scout cookies. So link will be in the description on where you can go and buy them if you need a hookup. It ships everywhere in the U.S. apologies to all of our. We have a few people in Japan and a few people in Europe, and I'm not going to pay international shipping to send it to you. But anyone in the U.S. can get them shipped to your house, and they're delicious. Try the Toastiers; they're a relatively new one, and they were freaking good. Because I bought one box of everything today. But besides that, it is currently the second day of NaNoWriMo, the NaNoWriMo, but for Renpai visual novels.
Yay!
And I'm not technically participating, but I'm using it as an excuse to do this project that I asked Maddie and Bernard if I could do it like 7 years ago, I think, like super long time ago. But they have an old game for the iPhone that they had. It was a sound novel. It wasn't even a visual novel. There was no visuals involved, but it was really, really good, and I really, really liked it. But it's not compatible with modern phones, so I'm remaking that game in Renpai, and I have programmatically, like using regular expressions, got like 80% of the way there. And it was super exciting that I was able to do so much of it that way. And so now I just have to make sure it like lines up and everything. And then we're also doing a sensitivity pass to change a couple of things from we were stupid in college when it was made to be more current. And I'm excited for that. And it's a lot of fun, and hopefully I finish it this month, because one of my New Year's resolutions was to participate in a game jam, and this is close enough. So I'm super excited for that.
I'm very excited for this as well. I need to work on my part of it as well.
Yes. Yeah, I'm today. So as a weird random aside, if you are ever making a Renpai game, anybody, the default frame is a picture. It's not in code. You need to go and change the picture. I spent about an hour today trying to find where it was pulling these colors from, and it was pulling them from a picture. So now you know. Mike's Super Short Show. But yeah, for the third segue to Paper Mario today, let's talk about Paper Mario.
With all 7 Star Spirits successfully saved, Shooting Star Summit stands as our next destination. Handle whatever side quests you have left, trade star pieces for badges, make sure Koopa Koot doesn't have any favorites left, or just ignore all of that and go to the summit, where the Star Spirits make a big rainbow thing that takes Mario up to a spiral path in the stars that lead him to Star Haven. There are some enemies there, but they won't really stop you for long. Star Haven is predictably full of star kids, who also run the local Toad House and shop. Apparently someone wished upon the stars for child labor. Anyway, heading to the big fancy building where the Star Spirits reside, you can finally see them all in person, and they're able to bestow upon Mario the ultimate star move, the Star Beam, which it's really just a plot move that removes the invincibility from Bowser.
But it does take a whole turn.
And it takes a whole turn. And as another gift, they make a cute little flying vehicle thing that is able to take Mario off towards Bowser's castle.
It looks really silly.
It looks really silly, but it looks like to me, it looks like a good version of Bowser's clown car. Mm-hmm. Like, that's the evil version, and this is the good version.
Yeah, it's not a clown.
Yeah, it's not a clown. On the ride there, people see Mario in the sky as a shooting star, and they make their wishes. The hopes of everyone, the dreams they've been wishing on that haven't come true, all depend on Mario defeating Bowser. So time to do that. Moving through the bowels of the castle, you can free some prisoners by defeating a guard with their key, which means you can then rest in the prison bed to recover, which you might want to do because, hot damn, the various baddies crawling around here are... I mean, there are Bowser's elite troops. They pack a hell of a punch.
Mm-hmm.
He could have just sent them to the Koopa Brothers fortress.
Anyway, you soon reach a stone door that looks like Bowser's face, and can talk, who opens a trapdoor beneath your feet when you stand before him. Whoops! Now you're in a jail cell! Luckily, there's a cracked wall that can be blown up, so Bombette can handle that. Path forward involves a lot of lava, which Lackluster can hover over on his cloud, but it moves slowly when he does that, and you can't jump, which bars your progress. You have to go do the platforming to get around properly. Eventually, you get to a switch that is guarded by a few Koopas, most of whom are terrified at the idea of fighting Mario, because he's Mario, but Bowser told them to guard the switch, so you do have to fight and beat them. Said switch turns off the lava flow, which makes it all harden, which lets you backtrack to get the key that you need to go forward. Now you have to navigate a dark area with the help of Watt, which involves a lot of splitting paths and some bony beetles who are really annoying, but eventually you're able to rise up out of the depths that you were dropped into before and confront the door that dropped you down there. Apparently that trap door only works once, and so he's forced to let you through. For the next area, it's time for water puzzles, everyone's favorite thing!
Yay!
By grabbing hanging chains, you release water that fills a set of rooms, and then use sushi to swim around and get to where you need to go. Back and forth, you raise the water, move to the next area, repeat it until you get the key you need, and then you undo it all bit by bit, and then continue onwards to the next challenge.
Luckily, it's not so much a water puzzle as a water hindrance, a water speed bump. It's just a thing you have to do. There's not really a puzzle to it.
True, you're right. Calling it a puzzle's a little bit. Inflating its importance. But anyway, before your next sort of challenge thing you got to use one of your partners for, because we got to make you use all the partners in interesting ways, except Bombario because his field power is useless.
But all of his titles in this dungeon are great, though.
They are very good. There are some bombshell blasters in your path, which are like bullet bill blasters, except these ones are just, like, so much tougher. And their bombshell bills hit like a mortar to the face. Take all of those out, and you get to an area where you have to push aside blocks to find hidden passages, going further and further away from the immediate way forward, so you can get the key to go back and then run into another Bowser door. This one doesn't throw you into prison, but he does give you a quiz. Namely, a memory game, where he shows you a bunch of enemies, and you have to remember details about them, like their colors, what door they came out of, how many arms or legs they had, etc., etc. There are 7 questions, and you have to get through them to succeed. Just get most of them right. If you miss 3, though, you have to fight 3 anti-guys at once. So...
Oh, I didn't know what the punishment was.
That's the punishment. 3 anti-guys at once. So I failed the questions on purpose and beat them because I wanted the star points. Those sweet, sweet star points. It is, to be frank, even with my ridiculous level, absurd fighting 3 Shy Guys at once. I was only able to not die because I kept using star moves and items that stunned them or put them to sleep. I can't imagine just full-on just trying to wall up them because they're so good. They're so strong. Either way, no matter how you get past that door, you can continue. And in addition to another jail cell that you can break into for the healing bed, there's also a spiky Goomba who's running a store, who will sell to you because he doesn't believe you're really Mario. Also, this might have actually been earlier. There's a lot of dungeony bits in here, and I might have forgotten which one was the one where the store Goomba is. Don't be mad at me. You handle some more puzzles that require Bombette's explosions to trigger a time switch, and then some looping corridors that you have to take in the right order, and, oh, hey, it's Peach. She says that she got away, and there's no reason to go fight Bowser, so you can just leave, and she'll follow behind you. Of course, this is just another Duplighost trick, but this one requires you to pretend you believe her and follow her instructions, and then reverse and go walk towards her again at the right time to where she's in her true form, and then she runs back, and you go back, you hammer her a bunch, and then you can fight her. But once you take care of that, it is time for the third and final of the Talking Bowser doors. which is just a weird, silly thing to say, but this is Paper Mario. This one has something better than a trap door or a quiz. A boss, namely a rematch against the Koopa Bros. Apparently, they've gotten way stronger since you last fought them, and they developed a new secret technique, and... Oh. Well, apparently Junior Troopa followed Mario all the way here somehow, and immediately just thrashes all of the Koopa Bros, and then attacks Mario. This time, rather than going with any one gimmick, he switches between all the different ones he's used so far, from one to another to another. You can eventually take him down, and once you do, the door's left a little confused, because the only way to proceed was to beat the Koopa Bros, but they were beaten by Junior Troopa, but you beat Junior Troopa, so he just decides to let you through because it's too confusing. This takes you to the place where Bowser's castle ends and Peach's castle begins. It's all exactly the same as it was in the Peach segments, except there's no enemies anymore. It's honestly kind of eerily quiet and empty. The only person you can find is a Toad who was hiding in a dresser and gives you another place to rest, and you might want to use that because as soon as you head back to where the first fight of the game began, it's time for a rematch. Bowser versus Mario, and he has Peach all tied up. He's strong and stuff, but the invincibility can in fact be taken care of by the Star Beam, so, do that, and defeating him's not that hard. Or at least, it doesn't seem that hard, but after you take him down to 0 HP, he's left frustrated but retreats, taking Peach with him. You have to climb up and up towards where Peach was caught with her sneaking, and after one last save point below a huge set of stairs up, huge spiral staircase, you find Kammy Koopa's secret weapon that she was working on. It's like, some kind of giant spiky floating arena?
It's Final Destination, no items.
You're right, it's Final Destination, no items. And more than that, it's able to power up Bowser, making him bigger and tougher. And more importantly, nullifying the Starbeam's effect on his invincibility. You can try it in the fight, and it doesn't work. And from that, we zoom out and then focus on something happening not too far away with Peach. Twink has shown up to rescue her from the clutches of Kammy Koopa, and that becomes a fight where we're controlling Twink, and Peach is kind of working as his partner. At first, his attacks do nothing against the witch, and her attacks hit him hard. And her attack, by the way, isn't like one of those spells that all the other Magic Koopas use. Her attack is summoning a wooden block and hitting him with it. I guess, sure.
I mean, that would hurt me.
Yeah.
That would hurt me. It looks to be like a 5 foot by 5 foot by 5 foot wooden block. That would be very painful. But Peach's move, Focus, represents her wishing for Twink's success, and the more she does it, the stronger the little star gets. Turn by turn, his stats get higher, until Kammy can't hurt him at all, and he's able to take her out. Twink then rushes over to Mario, adding his power to that of the Star Spirits, channeling the wishes of Peach and of all the people across the kingdom who are wishing for Mario's success. That's enough to turn the Star Beam into the Peach Beam, which I've always thought is very silly, but it is able to pull off the de-invincibilifying effect that we were looking for.
It probably, in first pass, was called the Twink Beam, and they realized they can't do that.
Oh, gosh. There's some jokes you can make about the Twink Beam.
Or something.
Yeah, it could have been. But yeah, with that, I'm not going to say this fight is easy. Bowser still has more health than anyone else in the game at this point, and is also just really tough. But it is possible. And with him defeated, the energy he used to power himself up disappears, shrinking him, and he drops the Star Rod into Mario's waiting hands. Not a moment too soon, because evidently beating Bowser had a pretty big consequence. All the energy that was being generated by Kammy's machine is building up, making it malfunction, and apparently the consequence for that is both this platform and Bowser's castle exploding. Bowser and Kammy are sent flying away like their Team Rocket, while Mario, his partners, and Peach are all protected, along with her castle, by the Star Spirits, who gently return it all back down to the ground. The day is saved! Sometime later, Mario and Luigi are relaxing at home, and Luigi asks how Mario's partners are doing. we see it. God, sorry, just the phrase as I was partly into doing it's just made me think Luigi's asking about Mario's polycule.
Yeah. When you said saved Peach and all of his partners earlier, I thought the same thing.
Oh, it's very good. We see a scene of Parakarry delivering a letter to Goombario, and from there we get some dialogueless vignettes where all the other partners are like doing their own stuff, getting word from the princess about a grand party that they've all been invited to. The last one to get word is Cooper, who is off in Shiver City with Colorado because they're about to go to the Crystal Palace. But once he gets the letter, Cooper is kind of tempted to just ignore it and continue onwards because it's always been his dream to be an archaeologist and stuff. But Colorado insists he go enjoy the party. Which is actually probably a good thing because Colorado's wife sent a message along with the mailman. Namely, he's in deep shit for leaving off on another expedition without telling her. So he runs off, eager to make amends. And I guess this expedition's just canceled now? Anyway, Mario gets a letter too, and you get to control Mario one last time, exploring Toad Town and talking to the many characters you've met over the course of this game. Heading to Peach's castle, she makes a big speech to the assembled guests, who of course include all of Mario's partners, and talks about like wishes and peace and junk, and then it's party time. But even better, it's credits time, which is all done over a parade with floats, and it's really neat. It's not as good as like the Ace Attorney credits with like the montage of scenes with all the game's characters, but it's still very, very good.
It's very good. They have so many unique animations in this just for this parade.
Including one in which the Bob-ombs wave with hands, and I'm no, Bob-ombs don't have hands. This isn't canon, no.
They've just always had Problem Sleuth / Homestuck style arms that you can't see when they're not using them. They've just always been there.
Don't say the H word to me. And that's it. After the parade ends and night falls, Mario and Peach head off to his house to watch fireworks together. And that's the end of the game.
While a haunting...
Oh, it's really good.
A haunting piece of music plays. It's great. I love it. It makes me feel happy, but it's also a bit haunting.
I really love the entire credits music because it moves in and out of a bunch of different Mario-ish kind of melodies, but also things specific to like the float as they come up one by one. And like it's just really good.
Yeah, and also it's funny how the parade will also include like
all the bosses.
Yeah, well yes, but I was going to say like behind the road there is a giant pool that has the whale in it, and that somehow is moving along the road, and it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
But I love it.
I love it too. It's very good.
Yeah, remember when games used to just soft lock your console when you beat them, and you had to just turn it off?
Remember when there were kill screens?
That.
I forget that used to be the norm. Every time I go and I replay an old game, and I'm there on the end screen, smashing all the buttons, trying to figure out what to do, and I'm like, oh yeah, I just got to turn it off.
I've got to save my clear data so I can start a New Game Plus run.
If only there was New Game Plus Paper Mario. But yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so let's listen to some Paper Mario music for the final time, and then talk about our memorable moments.
I have to ask, because I am just curious, what level I don't know if you easily have this available, but like around what level were both of you by the end?
Oh, I'm not sure my actual level, because it doesn't say that unless you like go specifically into the menu and look for it. But my BP was maxed out at 30. My HP was, I think, at 45. And I think my FP was at 35?
Yeah, mine was very similar to that.
Mine was max BP, max FP, and 40 HP. So I was 2 level ups from the most level ups you could possibly get.
Goodness.
Which was helped, I will say, it was helped by the anti-guy fight. Specifically, not only doing it, but I lucked out with the spell. This happened twice in the game. I was so lucky. The spell that doubles star points after the fight. So I got 60 star points from fighting those 3 anti-guys.
Oh,
wow. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, no, it's really good. I think at that level, at level 25, I'm just like, I don't know if it's even possible to grind. Like, the only way I could imagine being able to hit the level cap in this game, because its anti-level grinding abilities are really strict. And I'm like, I guess I could go farm Amazy Daisies? But, God, that would be so much trouble for so little payoff.
That would be miserable. But you gotta get that last 10 HP.
That last 10 HP!
That's what's gonna make the difference between saving the Mushroom Kingdom.
So what do you both think of Bowser's Castle?
I think it's a fantastic final dungeon.
Agreed.
Yeah, I loved the way that every character was important, because like some games, like most games do it, but they don't do it well, and I feel like this one wasn't just like, because like at the beginning of it you have to break out of prison using Bombette, and I was like, oh, is that going to be Bombette's entire section? But no, she has timing puzzles later. It's like everybody isn't just used cursily, they're used, that word wasn't right. Now I'm distracted by my words not making sense. But yeah, everybody was used a lot, and like had their own like spotlight sections, and it was very cool.
Yeah. One thing I hadn't ever really noticed before, but I really liked, is that up through the game to this point, whenever we fought Magic Koopas, it was always in like they were all the colored variants that all like had one useful spell they could do. That was like a support spell for the others in the group. And then you get to Bowser's Castle, it's like, oh, we have regular Magic Koopas here who can do any of those things.
Yeah, and you're like, oh shit, I better take out the Magic Koopa first. Then you start getting in fights with 2 Magic Koopas, along with some Koopa Trolls, and you're like, well,
one
shit.
of them, there's one fight of 4 Magic Koopas.
That's not good.
Like, especially because I had a glass cannon build. I had all of the attack ups and the attack up defense down one, and I had Mega Quake or Giga Quake, whatever the biggest quake is. It does like 9 damage. So I would get into these big scary fights, and I would clear out everything except for the guards, and then my partner would go in and take out the last couple HP. And it was fine and dandy. But Giga Quake can't hit Magic Koopas. Every time one of them showed up, it like completely threw off my groove and was actually difficult.
They're flying. They're nasty.
They're nasty. Also, I like the thing with the dry bones, where you don't get any star points for defeating them normally. You have to specifically blow them up, because they're extremely weak to explosions, and they give more star points than anything other regular enemy in the dungeon.
You can also use anything with fire, like Fire Flower or Cooper's Fire Shell thing.
I didn't have Cooper fully upgraded because weird thing. There's the number of upgrade blocks in this game, unless I missed a couple. I believe there's only is there enough to get everybody?
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, well, I missed 2. So Cooper and Lackluster didn't have. I had all star pieces. I had all badges. I apparently missed 2 upgrade blocks.
Some of them are hard to find. Like that one in Mount Lava Lava where you have to drop off a zip line. That one, I don't know how I would find that normally without looking up where they are.
I think you find it by looking down.
So speaking of my glass cannon build, Bowser does something that I don't think anyone else does that makes me really, really mad. So he has a bunch of AoE spells that will hit you and your partner, and also nobody else has this. Completely debuffs you. So I'm sitting there trying to charge up my jumps to do my mega jump to beat the shit out of him really fast, and like I'll get 2 charges in, and then he'll shoot his thing and debuff me, and now I'm back to nothing. So I had to just like not like just do normal attacks and just get the guaranteed ones and not try to do the big ones, not charge myself up, just do it regular. So it took a very long time because I haven't had to deal with debuffs the entire game. And it doesn't
He also
even like
has. Oh, go ahead.
I was like, and it's not like it announces it either. So I thought like I messed something up because it's not like, oh, you're too strong. Well, try this or whatever. Like, no, it's a side effect of that move is that all your debuffs go away, and it sucks, and I hate it.
I didn't even know about that effect because I wasn't using any charging things, and so I'm like, that's just really cool. My maybe most annoying move from him is probably the heal himself for 30 HP move, because it honestly, they're like between the debuff or the buff taking away move and the healing himself and like all the different things he could do in this fight, it really does feel like fighting a boss in D&D who has the wish spell, and you're like, stop it, stop wishing for things. This is not fair.
I mean, that's very much what he has.
Yeah, exactly. He has the wish spell.
Another thing I remember from my first playthrough of the game, very long ago, I do remember as a little kid finding this moment so hilarious when Mario is shooting through the sky and we see someone wishing, oh, I hope the princess will be okay. We've seen someone else wishing the princess will be okay with different words. And then we see a little kid Toad wishing, I want to eat shroom cake. I want to eat shroom cake. I want to eat lots and lots of shroom cake.
I like that too. Well, I like it because it's like, yeah, not everyone is focusing on the big quest right now. Other people are just like, upset because apparently no one's wishes are coming true. And like other people have other wishes, like eating shroom cake. And I get it.
Yeah, I like cake.
I want cake.
I don't know if I want shroom cake.
I don't know if I want shroom cake either, but it's a Mushroom Kingdom.
Yeah.
Weird question because of shroom cake. Do you think the toads care that super mushrooms have a face on them, being mushroom people themselves? Is there some sort of existential
evidently
question
not.
going on?
Evidently not.
Okay.
The clouds that Lucky Twos use also have
they
faces.
also have smile. Yeah, they also have faces. And I don't think they're alive. They just have faces. I mean, also, aren't there like clouds, just regular clouds and hills and things with faces in the Mario world? Like, I think faces doesn't necessarily mean something's alive. I think it just means some things have faces for some reason.
It could be an evolutionary thing to like scare off insects that would eat it.
Or maybe it's an evolutionary thing to try and blend in and look like a toad so the toads would stop eating it. But it didn't work.
It didn't work on Mario, at least.
That's true. Yeah, Paper Mario's good.
It's really good.
Really
It's like in terms of like story and character, like this isn't like obviously like this is just fun. This is just to bring back a phrase we used a lot in Skies of Arcade. This is a fun romp. This is just like an enjoyable adventure that has a really great finish to it. And I honestly, I know, I think it came across in my recap a little bit, but I loved the Cooper Bros thing where it's like, oh, I guess we're fighting. Nope, never mind. Junior Troopa's somehow here. All right. Like, it's just so nonsensical, but in the best way, where it's just like, sure, this is the payoff for the joke we've been running this entire game.
And my favorite thing about Junior Troopa is you run into him in the Koopa side of the Mushroom Kingdom, where Koopas aren't necessarily Bowser's stormtroopers. They're not Koopa troopers. They're just Koopas, and they're all hanging out there. He is not one of Bowser's henchmen. He is not Bowser Jr. He is not anything. He just doesn't like Mario, and he's sticking to that bit.
He's a neighborhood bully from where Goombario grew up, who Mario went into an area he considered his turf, tried to fight Mario. Mario beat him up, and now he's just devoted his life to fighting Mario so much that he learned magic.
One
Like,
thing I noticed that I really like is when you tattle on Junior Troopa, at some point, Gimbario always starts going, "It's Junior Troopa, my man!" And I'm like,
yes,
that's
the
so
last
good.
time he's like, "Oh, it's my man. I'm really proud of him. I can't believe he came this far." It's so good. And in the credits, he shows up alongside the float that Bowser's on, not to be a Bowser. He and Cammy are having a magic duel and are just tossing spells at each other. And like, it doesn't seem like a play thing. It seems like they're just actively trying to kill each other. And it's so good.
And then they accidentally blast Bowser.
And then they blow up Bowser, because Bowser is always the butt of the joke.
Speaking of tattle, I was fighting some Dupligos, and I had Goombario out, and they copied Goombario, and then one of them used tattle on Mario.
Yes!
And I was like, I didn't
Yes!
know that could happen. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I forget exactly what they say, but it's great.
It's really good.
That's so good.
It honestly, like, what's funny is because of that, it makes Goombario one of the best partners to have out to fight Duplighosts, because other partners have really dangerous moves they could be using. But
yeah.
Goombario, all they're going to use is his tattle ability. Well, in his head bonk, which
Yeah, they can
hit
use
pretty
this
hard.
head bonk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but still, it's funny.
Yeah, one of my favorite things about Paper Mario is it kind of has a nothing burger of a plot, but it doesn't matter. It's like it's written so well and is so enjoyable to do it, that the fact that it's like, oh, Bowser has put 7 MacGuffins everywhere, and you're going to go find the 7 MacGuffins and then come back and fight Bowser. Like, that's not a good story, but it's a fantastic game, and it's so much fun to play, and it's like a magic trick that they pull off, and I love it.
Mm-hmm. It's just like, yeah, the story is a nothing burger, but like the entire experience is just so fun on so many levels, and it has so much charm to it that it's like, who cares? Like, it feels like watching a Saturday morning cartoon in the best way. Like, especially with the end, you beat Bowser, his castle blows up, and he goes flying off into the sky, and it's like, oh, I guess he'll bother us later eventually, probably. Look to the next game. Definitely.
But yeah, speaking of Paper Mario and looking to the next game, we had said before that we were going to do Paper Mario, then Persona, then Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. But the February came and went without them announcing Thousand Year Door remake's release date, which is usually when they do stuff like that. So we're not going to wait and do it. Most also because me and Bernard are already playing 100-hour really dense, really fun RPG. We can't do 2 of them at a time. So we are, instead of doing Persona next, we are going to just keep on a pushing and start Thousand Year Door after next week. Next week we're going to do a movie night on the Mario OVA from Japan.
Super Mario Brothers: The Great Mission to Rescue Princess Peach from 1986.
Oh boy, that's 1 year after the very first Mario game came out.
Yeah, it is wild to me that this exists, and I've never watched it.
I haven't either. I've always heard of it, but I've never seen it.
Yeah, I think I watched a little bit of it when it was in the news for something. Like
there was in 2021, in 2022, there was a restoration of it, which might have also been the first time it was available with like good subtitles or something. I don't know, but yeah.
But yeah, I watched it a little bit there, but I didn't finish it. I was like, oh, this looks interesting, and I just like scrubbed through it to look at the quality. So I'm excited to watch it for realsies next week. Trish, do you want to write notes for it so that me and Bernard don't have to do anything on our week of Final Fantasy VII?
Sure, I'll do that. But that means Bernard's taking Thousand Year Door.
Yes.
Because
Absolutely.
I took his auto by RPG. I'm taking, and he can take mine.
Mm-hmm.
That is fine.
And then I get to do my redemption arc and cover Persona 3 and not suck and have a microphone that works.
I can't wait to play through Thousand Year Door, a game with much more plot to it than Paper Mario 64, and not have to worry about writing the notes for it.
Yeah, I also I don't think I've ever gotten out of whatever port, the first place where you start in Thousand Year Door. I picked it up several times and walked around a couple of times, but like I don't even know who your first partner is, type thing. So I'm excited. I'm excited to play this one to completion.
Your first
I'm excited
partner,
too.
if I recall
It's
correctly,
the best one.
Goombario, but a girl.
Yes.
No, because she's also a college student.
Oh yeah.
She's from Goom U. Go Goombas.
Yeah, so
I
super
love this
excited
game.
for that. But anything else to say about Paper Mario before we stop talking about it for 2 weeks and then start talking about Paper Mario again?
No, I'm good.
I'm really excited to play Thousand Year Door.
Mm-hmm.
I played it when it came out, but haven't played it since, and I don't remember anything.
I haven't played it in a very long time. Not very long. It's been a while since I played it. I didn't play it at release, but it was one of those games I yearned to have a GameCube so I could play it. Like I would go to a GameStop or something, and there would be a like a advertising like cardboard thing up about the game, and I would just stare longingly. But yeah, say Sam, where can people find out stuff about us?
If you would like to find stuff out about us, you can go to www.rpgbook.club, which is our Ko-Fi where you can send us in donations. I'll cover the cost of running the show, making it better and better. You can also set up a recurring monthly donation to get some additional benefits. If you donate $1 or more a month, you get access to our bonus feed, where this week we are playing the diverging timelines portion of Star Ocean First Departure R. And it's going to be, I think, the first time on the podcast that we've had drastically different things, besides in Lunar, but that's because we didn't realize the games weren't actually a remake of themselves. But yeah, so it'll be fun and interesting for me to say this happened, and Bernard will say no, it didn't. And
usually I just say that because Sam's wrong about something.
Yeah,
but this will be different.
This week I have an excuse, so I can say whatever I want. I'll be like, "Oh, it did that in my my timeline." But yeah. You will also get access to our polls to decide what game we play next on the main feed. Sit tight on that one. it'll be a minute. And then if you donate $5 or more a month, we'll also shout out your name at the end of every episode, a little like this. Shoutouts to Cerebral Wind, It's Clear Time, Frost Terror, Dragon Slayer 19, Floris, Kaldron, Freddy Rodriguez, AA Ron 524, and JFro Prime. And then finally, if you love us so much that you want to donate $20 or more a month, you also get to make me say a sentence of your choosing, either to plug something or just to make me say certain words in a certain order. Shoutouts to El Tantavi, who wants you to check out Aftermath.site, a worker-owned, reader-supported news site covering video games, the internet, and the cultures that surround them. Shoutouts to Vimke, who wants you to play Legend of Legaia. You can take a little break to play some Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, but immediately when you're done with that, pull out your PS1 and play Legend of Legaia. And then shoutouts to Carr, who is a dentist, so he isn't plugging a website, but rather your own mouth, and he says to brush your teeth twice a day, most importantly, the time before you go to bed. For RPG Book Club, I have been Sam Allman.
I'm Bernard.
And I'm Trish.
Toodaloo, folks.
Bye.